Hooty! Who everyone wants to drug and disorderly podcast brought to you by North Spokane CBD. Yeah, we're still doing it. And honestly, if you ever want a masterclass in how to sell something on the internet, go listen to Caleb's last podcast, Deepest Thoughts, episode 3. Horrors are at it again, which is one of his favorite sayings. It's basically a half-hour ad as to why you need to get CBD from North Spokane CBD using the discount code DRUNK for 15% off.
Caleb is such a... Like, we love him, so we get to pick on him. So you guys don't get to pick on him. But we call him Bitch Boy for a reason.
Yeah. We make fun of Caleb because he's got such a great sense of humor that it doesn't bother him. He is legitimately one of the coolest people I know. And
super cool.
And I'm so glad that I met him at this point in his life so that when he blows up, I can ride that gravy train on up with him.
I mean, Caleb's super cool. He's super down to earth. We're certainly not asking you to pick on him just because we do. This is family privilege, man.
Yeah, we're family.
It's kind of like when, the Marines and Army go at it until, someone else steps in to say something. Then we all like square the wagons. No one's going to get that joke. God damn it.
I get it.
You did not watch Wagons East.
No, but like I get it. You make a big square and you go circle.
You circle the wagons straight.
Yeah.
So the saying is circle the wagons. In the movie, the movie Wagons East, they squared the wagons so that they had to make a bigger loop going around them because of the corners.
Oh. That makes sense.
That is a funny movie. If you haven't seen it, you should
Wagons
see it.
East is the greatest movie that you've never seen. I promise you. That and Major Payne, if you're one of those weirdos that never saw Major Payne.
I've seen Major Payne so many times when it first came out. And when I was sick like 2 years ago, I rewatched it again. And it was a lot less funny than I remembered it being. So.
But who's never seen Major Payne?
I bet a lot of people haven't seen Major Payne.
My wife, for one, like, granted, Elfie hasn't seen any movie ever.
Anything.
I'm kidnapping your wife for about a week, and all we're gonna do is watch movies.
Okay, can you not kidnap her, but maybe just move into my basement for a week?
I mean, maybe.
Okay. Oh, right, Dre, where's that picture that you sent me? Where is
it? But your basement? I gotta be in the basement, right? Like,
the basement's the nicest. The basement's the nicest room in the house. The basement is the nicest room in the house. It's where I sleep. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up this picture so that I can put it up for
right now.
While you're doing that, so like we've got a Brady Bunch thing going on here on the
screen.
We do.
Should I be like when Erin's talking, should I like turn and or what's the etiquette on that? Or should I just kind of stare ahead at the camera?
Oh my god.
Oh, we're moving stuff around now.
All right, make your plug real quick so we can go back to talking about the Brady Bunch. Go.
Okay, so our friend in Iowa, who we will be going to see next week, they're having their convention. Most of us will be there. Get ready. Iowa.
Are you going to be there, Joe?
Which state?
Iowa.
Iowa.
Unfortunately, DC's convention is the same weekend, so I've got to be.
You are definitely picking the wrong convention. Iowa's where it's at.
DC is home for him, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
I'm chair of the DC party, so they'll notice if I'm not there.
Still making the wrong decision. Anyway, keep going, Dre. Sorry.
Okay, so our friend over there, Fred Perryman, is selling raffle tickets for. We've got this up here. It says tickets for Liberty. Pick your tattoo. So they've got a couple different ones to choose from. $20 tickets or 3 for $50. Get a hold of Fred on Facebook or by email here or his phone number. I can't believe he put his phone number out there like that.
Wait, did it? Oh my God, he did.
He's brave. Fred, you're brave.
I hope that's a Google number, Fred. A secondary Google number.
Because it's small, I am going to have to read it because we're doing the ad. It's 217-454-7792 or Perryman, that's PERRYMAN at LPIA.org.
Now, wait, are these actual tattoos? You win the raffle, you get to get actual ink?
No, I think it's pick our tattoo raffle. So
I think they're just picking the logo for the campaign is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's got the Flame of Liberty, the Gadsden snake, the old school what you call it?
Porcupine.
Penguin guy.
Porcupine and the Liberty Penguin.
Liberty Penguin. Now
What-
we're big
What's
Liberty
the
Penguin
cannon
fans.
thing? What's the cannon? from?
I'm not sure about that one.
It just looks like an artillery thing to me, and that's
Yeah.
because I was on an artillery base, probably. But
I thought it was a telescope. So.
Don't
I
pick
guess-
that one.
yeah, I would say not that one, and not the porcupine. Not because the porcupine's bad, just because it's everywhere. So do the penguin. Who else has a penguin? I mean, really?
That's cute.
It kind of looks like an ad for a snow cone stand, though, doesn't it?
I was just gonna say it looks like he's holding a snow cone. I love
What
it.
is more libertarian than snow cones? Nothing.
Tax evasion. I mean, I'm just saying.
Fair.
Oh, Nate, these always happen during the Democratic debates.
I don't know why anyone would be watching a Democratic debate at this point. Like, I guess Stayer's in there now, so maybe if you really want to hear what Stayer has to say, but
This is the debate where everyone tries to tear down Bernie Sanders. So if you like watching Bernie Sanders get torn down, it might be worth watching.
I mean, if you want to see Bernie Sanders get torn down, you can watch this show every episode. It happens.
Right? We're happy to help,
Yeah.
man. Doing our part.
Yeah, I don't need to watch him get beat up. I can just do it. It's fine.
So, I'm gonna let Dre.
Gets off on it.
I'm gonna let Dre introduce our guest here in a minute. I just want to say, as I said in the pre-show, and I've always said, like, Josh is my friend, and I'm always going to support Josh. But I am very happy that Joe is in the chair race, especially as I'm hearing rumors that Sarwark's going to jump in, and then it's like, okay, there's two people that I could stand as chairs, so let's not have Sarwark. And Dre, go ahead and introduce our guest now.
Okay, let's welcome Joe Bishop-Henchman, who I was lucky enough to meet in person a couple weeks ago here in Nebraska at our state convention. He is currently LNC at large, correct?
Yes.
And you are running for LNC chair, which will be happening here in Austin in a couple months.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show.
It's great to be with you. I have watched it every now and then. Ethan watches it a lot more, so I know what I'm getting into, but
Oh, good.
happy to be here, and let's talk liberty.
I mean, Joe, your credentials are a little bit deeper than just at large, right? You're the chair of the DC party. You've been involved with the movement for a really long time. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I came across the party at a booth at the San Diego County Fair in the mid 1990s, and that's when I was a teenager, and it made sense to me, so I joined and helped lead Youth for Brown Jorgensen in San Diego County in 1996. So it's kind of been interesting running into Joe Jorgensen every weekend on the campaign trail, and then it was kind of a rabble rouser in San Diego. We had a very active party in San Diego, still do. Very big on getting involved in public policy issues going on in San Diego. So at the time they were debating, should we subsidize the football stadium some more? Should we subsidize the creation of a baseball stadium? Should we subsidize the expansion of the convention center? And on all of those, we didn't win in that we stopped them all, but we did make them less worse than they were going to be. So the ballpark, for instance, they had to raise a lot of private money because we made it clear and we got the public to our side that it couldn't be 100% publicly funded. And then ditto with the convention center expansion. And honestly, if you've been to San Diego's ballpark, I think it made it a better product in the end. There was a curfew law in San Diego at the time. I was part of a group called Libertarian Rock that was set up by my good friend David Doctor to protest against that. And we managed to work in a First Amendment exception to the law, which is still there to this day. So if you're a teenager out in San Diego after 10 p.m. on a weeknight, as long as you're wearing a sticker that says repeal the curfew, they can't cite you because you're exercising your First Amendment rights. And we actually got a MTV special to do coverage of that. And that was my first media appearance back at in age 16. And then went to college, UC Berkeley, which we could do a whole hour of stories just on that. And was president of the Cal Libertarians there. And that's when I first met a lot of the people we have in the movement. So I first met Tom Palmer, when I first met Justin Raimondo, just in bringing speakers to campus and having them present. Yeah.
Berkeley's the school that Kevin Shaw was protesting too, right?
I don't know. Probably a lot of people protest Berkeley. We kind of had a year did not go by without
Okay.
National Guard and tear gas and all that.
Well, that's been the case at Berkeley though since the late 60s.
Yeah. So the birth of the free speech movement, until the 1960s, the status quo was politics did not exist on campus. You left it at the campus gates, and you were a student. And there was this whole theory that the purpose of the university was to create a learned adult, and until you graduated, you couldn't engage in all of that. And we kind of blew that to smithereens at Berkeley, and so now you can't even conceive of a theory like that. Now, of course, all campuses are full of politics, not always the best ones.
Sure.
Yeah. So then after college, I took a year to temp and helped recall the governor of California, who was terrible. Worked on a campaign for Peter Uberoth, who was the commissioner of Major League Baseball and the man who chaired the commission to rebuild LA after the riots. He ran as an independent for governor. He ended up not getting the traction that he wanted because of the celebrity in the race. And then moved east to Washington, D.C., where I worked a little bit on transportation policy, then went to law school, then in tax policy, and built up that organization, served on boards of a couple other organizations, building those up, helping a lot with charitable works out here, and then met my husband, and then in 2016 we had a lot of momentum for the Libertarian Party because of what was going on nationally with the Republicans and the Democrats, and got more involved and helped pull together DC surrogates for the Johnson Weld campaign. And then in 2018 was made chair of the DC party and ended up getting elected as an at-large member of the national party. So that's kind of how I've gotten from where I started to here. Hi.
Dre, what was that look for?
Oh God, you and your childish reindeer games.
You guys are so silly.
What was the name of the governor that you got recalled?
Gray Davis.
Right, that's right.
So
I remember that being a thing. I just couldn't remember his name.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah. He was elected, and it was a big movement with lots of people. I was one young cog in it. And he, his big failing was that he tried to make everybody happy. And if you wanted him to do something, he would say yes and try to do it. But when you try to make every single person happy and you say yes to everybody, and everybody ends up hating you because you can't be all things to all people. And so you're basically in a position where you're lying to people. And politicians lie to ordinary people all the time, and that's just par for the course. But something you can't do as a politician is lie to a fellow politician, because then you're breaking your word with them, and then nobody will ever deal with you again. And that was kind of the situation that he ended up in.
I feel like the best course of action is to try to make everyone upset with you, actually, because if you look at our politics, it's really antagonistic. Like, no one voted for Trump. They voted to trigger the libs. Yeah. So, and I think it's not as true of Democrats, but I think you could definitely get a lot of like hate votes from
it's getting there. I mean, the election may be Trump versus Bernie versus whoever we nominate. And, a lot of Trump voters, they're not going to be voting for Trump. They're going to be voting against
Bernie.
Yeah.
And a lot of Bernie voters are not going to be voting for Bernie. They're going to be voting against Trump. So, I mean, we have a big opportunity because we may be the one option of, like, instead of just every election voting against the other guy or girl, why don't you vote for somebody?
Right?
Honestly,
who earned your vote.
Honestly, I think Trump-Sanders plays out for us, or could potentially play out for us strategically, much better than Trump-Bloomberg.
There are going to be tens of millions of politically homeless people who do not want to support either of those candidates.
Well, and I'm going to tell you too, I don't believe that the DNC in general supports Sanders, and the GOP has reluctantly embraced Trump, right? Neither party really loves those candidates. So picture this: if we nominate somebody who can pull.
Trump does have like a 92% approval rating in the Republican Party.
Because he has to, right? Not because they honestly feel that way, right? They don't have an option. He is their guy.
I don't know, man. My family went from holding their nose to vote for him to I had to unfriend some of them because they were too far into the Kool-Aid.
Well, because that's how you convince yourself that what you did isn't as icky as it was.
It becomes like a sports team dynamic,
right? So
you got to
think
support
about
your
it.
guy, even no matter how terrible they are or how good they are.
Think about it though. If we could throw this election to the House, House Democrats don't want Sanders, but they
that's
can't.
a sure ticket to not being elected next time.
Right, but they can't support Trump. So if we could throw them somebody who isn't Trump and isn't Sanders, it's possibility that we start seeing things shift. Not necessarily that we win it, but that we get the opportunity for the conversation, that we see a couple of people vote for our guy or our gal, because we still don't know somebody else. We have guys and gals in this.
Yeah.
It's really possible, and I think more possible if it's Trump Sanders than if it's Trump Bloomberg. Because Bloomberg just gives a lot of the never Trump Republicans a good Republican that they can vote for, right?
But on the other hand, he'll lose a lot of the Democratic base.
He'll lose a lot of the Democratic base, but they don't hate him as much as Sanders.
And I do have to add, it is a weird situation here because, Trump's only been a Republican for so long, and Bernie's only been a Democrat for so long. And I mean, technically, I guess he's still not really a Democrat.
Right.
And then Bloomberg's only been a Democrat for so long. So, I mean, that's just kind of the weird dynamics of politics today. Everything's very fluid. And I mean, I have a rule on politics. I never say never about politics. I'll talk about probabilities and risks and this might happen or this might not happen, but I never say never because, I'm only 39 years old, but what I've lived through already in politics feels like an eternity. And, anything can happen. And I include our moment in that.
Yeah, I think it's possible that we can see a different gain this cycle, which is pretty cool. I'm excited about it. I will tell you, so I was in California for that debate, and being in the room with those candidates, you felt yourself wanting to cheer for everybody, regardless of who you thought you walked in supporting, right? It was a really physically, palpably powerful moment. There was an energy in that room with that much liberty being talked, and there was a lot. You got chills. There were tears. It was great. This is a good time to be a libertarian.
So I'm spending every weekend from January till May at a state convention or more than one state convention. So I'm talking to a lot of libertarians in person, and it's been interesting because the presidential race is often brought up as a topic in these conversations, and I'd say maybe 10, 15, 20% of the attendees have a candidate in mind that, and they're only with that candidate. But most of the rest of the libertarians I talk to are, they like 3 or 4 of them. And it's hard for them to pin down just yet on which one they support. And we've seen that in, a number of straw polls have come out and there's not been a consistent winner in each of the states. And I think it reflects that. I think we kind of have a luxury of choice right now. And we'll see how it ends up and kind of who is able to consolidate support. The candidate of the moment is Dr. Hornberger. He's won a couple of straw polls, or at least gotten the plurality in a couple of straw polls. We'll see if that path continues, or if someone else is able to rise up among the pack as well.
There's some really solid candidates up there.
I want to give you the opportunity, sir, to join our podcast in endorsing Ben Backus for vice president.
We all love Ben.
Stop it.
Sorry, Ben. I still love you.
Ben does not want to be nominated.
He doesn't get a choice. So the thing is, everything that everyone is saying about Mons, like John Mons. Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure.
Who's a really good dude.
And the post I made today was a joke. I'm not in any way trying to run him down. 1 million votes is a huge deal. If Nebraska was the size of Georgia, Ben Backus would have had over 700,000.
Right.
So I'm just saying, if that's your measuring stick, then it's got to be Mons Bacchus 2020.
I'm smart enough not to try to tell any delegate who they should vote for on president or vice president or honestly the other LNC offices either. I mean, the delegates are going to do whatever they're going to do, and nobody's waiting for me to tell them who to support for president or vice president. So.
No, man, and I think this is a good year. Again, you can go into the convention, hear the debates, and probably make your choice in the moment, and still wind up voting for a really principled candidate who truly loves the party and truly wants to work really hard for you. And that's amazing. It's an amazing problem to have. The old parties haven't had this problem ever that I can remember.
Yeah, no, like, we got the Democratic debate going on tonight too, and it's a stage full of flawed people. Everybody's got a flaw up there that in normal circumstances might make them completely unelectable, but there they are, and they have to pick between them. And we're not in that situation, and I'm glad of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a year where we're gonna have to hold our noses to vote for somebody.
I'm so excited.
It's not a Bob Barr year. This is not that. And that's exciting.
Yeah, we are genuine. Like, this election is almost entirely, on our side anyway, it's not about principles, because like all of the front runners outside of one or two, and we all know who I'm talking about,
right,
are all very principled, basically radicals. It's about who do you think is going to get the most attention, because
and who's going to make the sale.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's going to close the deal? It's about who's the closer.
Yeah.
Really, that's what it comes down to.
We are literally going to war with each other over style. Like, as much as I piss off half of our fans every time I make fun of Hornberger because he puts me to sleep, it's my disagreement isn't that he's not a great libertarian, it's that he puts me to sleep.
You know what, though? You say that,
seriously.
Like, you say that, but like in California, I watched him invigorate a room.
And maybe, I don't know.
I've seen the, like I said, I'm neutral on the president. I'm Switzerland in the presidential race, but I've seen the video of Hornberger working the streets in North Carolina where he was campaigning door to door, and he wasn't putting people to sleep there. It was very impressive, and he's working it. We found ourselves both at the airport at 6 a.m. the other night, or the other morning, I guess, because we were both getting on flights to different places. I mean, he's making the rounds. Jorgensen's making the rounds. Armstrong's making the rounds. Chafee's making the rounds. They're all out there. And
Dan is going to gun rallies and putting magnets on people's tanks.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're all doing stuff. And really, like, I get it. Especially as we get closer to convention, I believe we'll see more of it. People get really excited, really loud, really vocal in their support of some candidates and in their trashing of other candidates. And it's probably going to elevate as we get closer. Mm-hmm. But I would caution everybody. Look, I would caution everybody, don't take that personally. What's coming off as maybe aggression to somebody, 9 times out of 10, all it is passion. And passion is a good thing. So let's not try to diminish passion.
Yeah.
Copies for closers.
Yeah. So what bums me out is we still get those messages on our page where it's like, drop out, you're a fucking loser, you're a moron. Which, to be fair, the last person who sent us that message did use the correct form of yours, so I had to be impressed.
Well, props to them. That's the first.
Yeah.
Send them stickers. Whoever it was. Good grammar.
Well,
stickers.
I just send a smiley face and say thank you for your input, and check out our website.
Donate here.
Yeah. Like we do. We get a lot of especially, have you guys noticed, anytime we post a meme that trashes Trump or Bernie?
Oh.
I was shocked that Trump supporters are actually checking out our page. Like, why would you bother?
No.
But they do.
D&D page or the
D&D page?
Dude, a good half of our base is like, there's a reason I try not to hit Republicans as much. I won't lie. I want to grow our base on Facebook. And here's why. Here's the deal. I subscribe to what the church would call missionary dating. So the thing is, you got to be cool with people to get them to listen to you.
This sounds like a whole David Berg flirty fishing bullshit.
Okay, let me
that's
get
like
through this.
felonious on 9 continents.
People will not listen to you if you hit them in the face right away. So right now, Republicans are ascendant in politics. So my thought process, and Dre does this naturally. I don't ever say this to her because she just does it. My thought process is piss them off less because it's easier to peel away from the ascendant party because they don't feel threatened the same way the party that is going to come up in the next cycle would. Although I don't think that's going to happen in this cycle because I think the Democrats have screwed that pooch.
Well,
I also just find so many more.
Well, yeah, the left can't meme too, by the way.
That's the problem, is that the left can't meme.
That's a huge
we have a hard time stealing those when, like, make us some memes, people on the left.
Yeah. Look, and if you can give us some funny anti-Trump memes, we do post them.
We're in. Look, we are equal opportunity haters. We're equal opportunity haters.
One or two, and then since he's been running, like that's 3 years, people, and I've seen one or two.
So
Step up your game.
The best one I came across, I saved for myself, and it was that President's Day special, $6, a White Russian, and a bag of Cheetos.
Oh yeah.
And the problem is when I find good anti-Trump memes, I just keep them.
You're supposed to feed them to me.
I know. In part, sometimes I feel like a traitor for that, but man, I'm quick on that share.
Keep them. Like you can save a copy and share a copy.
Well, I need to post them from our page and then reshare them from there, and then I still get to share them. But I'm just like, oh fuck, share. Like it's a trick. I can't help it.
Yes, Eric.
I understand. I have had a I've had to curb how I do this.
I'm a horrible meme dealer.
Since I have taken over our meme distribution. Are you a good
meme dealer, Joe?
No, I'm terrible at it. Ethan's much better at it.
Okay.
I just hoard, and then just I'll just do a huge meme dump in one day and schedule 2 weeks of memes.
And then I go through when I'm having a weird creative moment and fill in the holes that she leaves in the schedule for me and typically there's not even holes. I just have to we're about an hour away from the last one. I'll just post it.
Seriously, I never schedule memes. All I ever do is
I know you can just send them to me.
I farm memes and drop them into this chat. And Dre's like, dude, just email them because they're getting buried in the chat. And I'm like, who has time for that?
No. That is for Discord, remember?
Oh, yeah. Dang it.
Oh, right.
Oh, we have Discord updates.
Yes. So for our pay, so here's the deal. We're going to have tiers here. We're going to have a Discord that anyone can join and hang out with us and talk politics and bullshit. And hopefully not politics too, please.
Yeah, look, we're not limited to politics.
Yeah. I don't even like talking
all
about
the animal
politics.
memes I've got in there.
So, and then there's going to be another tier for paid subscribers so that they get kind of more exclusive access to us. And there's going to be some other content that look, I get it. We keep trying new things and people don't like what we try. So we go on to the next thing for subscribers. If you're a subscriber and you have an idea, fucking let us know because we're at our wits' end at this point.
We'll do whatever you want at this point.
Hey, no, hush. You shut your whore mouth. Do not say that.
Right. I forgot who our fucking followers are. Shit.
We'll do whatever you want.
Eric is in the chat right now.
You got to make sure you're charging a lot of money if you're offering that.
Everything's got its price, but some things you're going to need to sell a couple of kidneys, preferably your own, but we're really not going to ask.
We're offering tit-soaked blanket. What was that? A sheet?
Oh yeah, weren't we gonna do body prints?
Yes. Nobody wants seriously. We were gonna do the stupid human tricks. You had a wheel. We never did that.
Did we sell a T-shirt last night?
I still got it.
Do I need to check Redbubble?
I don't know.
I never checked.
One of my friends was asking me for the link, so I gave it to her.
Redbubble?
Yeah.
If you want T-shirts, look for our Redbubble link. All of those links are on the page.
I'm gonna post that.
Yeah, that
Go
needs
back to
be-
talking amongst yourselves.
Yeah, because that's not an easy link.
It's not an easy link. It's a nightmare link. Because
I can barely find it. I had to bookmark the damn thing and I admin it. Well, John does anyway. So, okay. Sorry, I'm going to go back to a comment earlier from one of our little people here.
Who's comment?
Oh,
5 gallons of Dre's bathwater and 1 round of toenail clippings, $850, and it's yours, Beasley.
Oh my God. You know, if that shit is gonna sell, I will happily package and ship it, I guess. You sickos.
Yeah, I mean,
if that's what the people want, that is easy enough to get shipped out.
that'd be funny. I would laugh my ass off if you actually shipped 5 gallons of used bathwater to somebody. We have a friend, Dre, you and I have a mutual friend who shipped a whole huge shipment of gorilla shit to a GOP office in his state because they did some shady shit. So he sent
Isn't that bioterrorism?
Yes.
I mean, it's legal. You can buy it online and have it shipped. So
you can buy it on.
This is a very timely conversation because we actually, the LNC just sent out an email today asking for items to be donated for the silent auction at National Convention.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good ideas being suggested here.
Well, and look too.
So my first question was going to be: does this person have access to a zoo? How the hell do you procure this kind of manure?
Yeah,
and yes, this is a violation of the NAP and bioterrorism. Disgusting. Fine, glitter bomb the asshole for crying out loud.
Well, how is a glitter bomb less of a violation than a package of gorilla shit that's probably marked in some way?
I mean, glitter can't make you sick unless you inhale it into your lungs.
But a glitter bomb makes you inhale it into your lungs.
It does. And
it
really,
blows up in your face.
It's probably marked, right? If you're ordering manure from anywhere, it's going to be at least labeled.
You're not going to repackage it for the people in gift wrap? Come on.
Well, he didn't, but that's a really good idea. Zebby, if you're listening, next time we're going to wrap that shit.
I was a mean girl in high school, okay? Well, I didn't do this kind of shit, but my friends did. And I was like, that's just too far. Come on. Let's be proportional.
At some point, too, we shift from being in a position where our actions are violating the NAP to solely asserting our right to self-defense. And the duopoly, absolutely, every day, daily, makes me feel the desire and need to defend myself. I mean, at what point do we say some of these things are probably self-defense?
That was a good pivot back to a talking point.
It was.
Joe, I have to ask, how many Big Luau shirts do you have? Are you prepared?
Big Luau shirts?
Yeah. Well, because you can't
because
you can't say the other word.
Yeah,
they call it the Big Luau or the Big Igloo.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you get censored, demonetized, deplatformed.
Remember they had a rally in Virginia a couple weeks ago about this kind of thing.
So do you have any good Hawaiian shirts? Are you ready for it?
I don't, unfortunately.
So like, what is your plan? Do you have a bug out the shit hit the fan plan?
For what?
For like, if the shit hits the fan and you got to bug out, where do you go?
I don't understand. I'm sorry.
So, okay.
No, this is such a huge cultural difference. This has to be kind of that Midwestern.
It does. Okay, so we need to do this.
This is something that all of us have a plan for.
Okay, so here, like Midwest states for sure, our plan is when the government fully takes over and declares martial law, and the shit hits the fan.
I see.
Where do we go? And I will tell you, if you're looking for a place, there's some great caves in Arkansas that are spring fed. But my happy ass is going to either Idaho, because I can get across the Canadian border on my horse if I need to, or Hawaii, because that's a great place to be homeless.
So I have two answers for this. One is I live a mile from the U.S. Capitol, so depending on the situation, I may not be getting out at all. So
fair point.
Good luck to all the rest of you. I'm going to be just a shadow on the sidewalk or something. But if it is a situation where we can get out, Ethan does have a plan on this. So he's from northern Vermont. So like this is the Canadian border. This is the town he's from right here in northern Vermont. And So, we get the car, throw the dog in, and make our way up there. It's about 12 hours, and his parents live in a cabin in the woods in the middle of nowhere. I'm sure at least some libertarians can relate to that. And we'll kind of rough it out there. It's where we spend every Christmas, and it's it's nice and remote, and I think we probably live up there indefinitely if need be. So long as the Canadians aren't coming over from that side. So.
I think any American should be able to take any Canuck. Come on now. As long as you have you minute.
Have you not seen The Handmaid's Tale? God dang.
No, I don't watch that commie bullshit.
You really when I read the book years and years and years and years and years ago, and I remember reading it and thinking, this is what happens if the right takes over. This is what happens because in Oklahoma, and in a lot of the South, about half of those Republicans that are running for office are theocrats. I mean, it's terrifying.
We do have our fair share of theocrats in Nebraska.
Right. I mean, we like to swing at the left and the right, but it's that the my way or the highway sub faction of the GOP and of the DNC that are really the most terrifying to me, and even within our own party, when you get that my way or the highway sub faction of a caucus, especially is when stuff gets kind of weird. It's scary.
Sorry,
Dre, what's your bug out plan?
Fuck, I'm counting on John to have one. We have enough guns.
I'm sure he has a dozen.
Well, okay, so we have money and we have things that could be used as money that aren't money, and we have enough guns and ammunition. Other than that, though, I don't know.
My plan is just to go to Erin's house and build.
Come on.
Yeah, that.
I have land. I told you, if you want to build a cabin, you don't have to wait. You're welcome to come build a cabin.
You have chickens. I want to come now.
I mean, look, we might be down here this summer. It depends on how vacation works out and how well the court battle goes.
Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers on that one for you guys. That needs to come to fruition.
Yeah, when do you guys go to court again next for that?
The 11th.
Oh, wow, that's quick. Okay, good. Oh my God, use your personal assistant.
It's in Elfie's phone, not mine.
Zach doesn't track anything.
I won't be able to go anyway, so.
Oh, whatever. Shared calendar. I don't know.
He doesn't track anything anyway.
Dude, I don't even know what day it is. Is this a Thursday or Tuesday?
It's Tuesday.
Okay.
I hate
Zach, when the shit hits the fan and you're on your way to your bug out spot, what's the first thing that you're going to try and grab on the way? What's the first thing you would want to acquire?
It depends on what vehicle I'm escaping in. If it's the Jeep, I'm definitely trying to hit up some place to steal some gas cans and then fill them up.
You're not going to be able to take anything but gas cans in that silly thing.
Yeah.
That's too practical and boring. And, this is me saying you're being too practical and boring.
I'm stealing a beer truck.
You're sitting
in a perfect library, please. Of course.
There's a TV show. I forget the name of the TV show. Revolution, I think. It didn't last long, but it was the first episode was like just electricity stops working worldwide. And there's this mom and dad who know that it's about to happen. And so what they decide to do is give the kids ice cream because they're never going to have ice cream again. So that's touching. That's a good. Wow. I know it's not as practical as gas cans, but I would probably get ice cream.
I know how to make ice cream.
Yeah, but not without electricity or ice.
Oh, you need ice.
We have solar panels.
You gonna make ice with solar panels?
What's that?
Nothing. Never mind.
Solar panel or solar power.
Can power. It doesn't take a whole lot to power a little mini.
You could make ice cream in one of my bug out vehicles because I take this shit seriously. So my vehicles are EMP proof. I've literally got an old RV, a 1973 solid steel bodied RV for that reason. I haven't updated the engine or the transmission in it, even though it really needs it for that reason. Anything computerized, I don't want to be in a position where an EMP can take me out.
Good, Chris. Yes, you should always be upping your collection.
especially
Eric has a
You
good
never know when you're going to have a boating
the
accident.
coronavirus stuff. I mean, a lot of my friends in DC were buying emergency supplies today, getting ready for that. So, FYI,
Nothing wrong with
everybody else
that.
in the rest of the country.
All I can picture is Mad Max Thunderdome. I mean, that's possible, Kyle, right? Like Mad Max or The Postman. You guys saw that shit, or God forbid, Waterworld.
I was
But
just gonna say, are we gonna go really post?
like that was bad. Yeah,
If we're
it's all out
gonna
there.
do, if
Tank
we're gonna
Girl.
do the Thunderdome, that means we're legally required to listen to California Love at least once a day, and watch the music video.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
Jesus,
I don't understand the correlation.
because
Oh my gosh.
the music video was them in the Thunderdome.
Oh. I didn't have MTV. Give me a break.
How did you not have MTV?
You were like, I was a wee child when that song came out too, so like you would have at least been old enough to have seen it.
Listen, my parents never, ever had cable. Ever. I got cable when I
You're
moved
talking
out.
about the Jesus.
Well, we didn't
Freak
have cable either,
homeschool.
but all my friends did.
Yeah, I still didn't get enough access, honestly. Like, it was few and far between I got to watch MTV.
Man, no.
Man, I used to love watching TRL every day. That was like my thing. That's why I was a Backstreet Boys fan.
Don't make us pick on you.
Eric.
Oh my God! All right, we should ask Joe our obligatory question.
Okay.
Oh, yep.
So, Joe, how do you feel about nuclear power?
How do I feel about nuclear power?
Good, bad, indifferent?
I guess indifferent. I watched Chernobyl on HBO.
Oh, Justin's gonna have his way with you now.
Oh, here we go.
It was a pretty good movie. I hear it's all lies and made up. So I actually grew up on the other side. I grew up in Oceanside, California, which is in northern San Diego County. And that's on the other side. Just north of us is Camp Pendleton, which is a big Marine Corps base. And on the other side of Camp Pendleton, just south of San Clemente, still is the San Onofre nuclear power plant. And it's shut down now, but when I was growing up, it was still open. And we did a school tour of it and got to go inside of it and everything. And we were in the zone of, like, you know, where I guess they'd hand out iodine tablets and have loudspeakers tell you it's the end of the world if anything ever went wrong. And so that's kind of weird and scary. And but I don't know. I talk with a lot of people who are energy experts here in DC, and they say we need an all of the above strategy, and that includes letting nuclear be part of that. So I guess for it, but it's not my area of expertise, so I'll have to trust what people tell me on it.
Sure. So, you know, one of our fans is our followers is adamant that we ask everybody that comes on the show about that.
It's Justin O'Donnell.
Justin.
It's
Yeah.
Justin O'Donnell.
So you can now kind of see why that question got repetitive and annoying real quick.
Now we just automatically ask it.
Wait, pause. I haven't seen Justin in like a month.
I just texted Justin the other day.
He hasn't been commenting on the show for like a month. You need to text him back and be like, "Yo, bitch, you can't be walking away from us like that."
In and out. No, you gotta be.
He's running for office. He's running for senator, right?
Justin's really busy right now
and all that. Yeah.
Look,
No,
there is no good
possible.
excuse to miss our show, though.
Well, I mean, there are some good excuses. If you're in labor,
I was just gonna say that.
You can
If you're
have your
having a
phone
baby,
out.
Helps pass
That's
the time, right?
true. Oh my God.
I mean,
I would have been so much happier if I would have got to watch what I wanted to when I was in labor.
See, now that
I couldn't have focused on
the
it.
3D shit, so that you can just like put on the headset and like have an adventure while you're having your crotch goblin. It'll be great.
Look, I was
Ew.
watching
Say that.
some fucked up documentary because when I can't sleep, I turn on some fucked up documentary. And this woman was talking about how the form of natural childbirth that she was using is all these women planning for childbirth, and she was going to use this birthing pool, and how she achieved orgasm during the delivery of her first child.
What the fuck?
Right? And I'm like,
You're crazy.
I didn't even know that was fucking possible, and none of mine got anywhere close to that. And, I'm twisted, so I don't know, man.
I had my gallbladder taken out a couple of years ago, and in like the year leading up to it, had a series of gallbladder attacks where, you know, the stones would get stuck in the duct, and it's very painful. And I'm told it's not as painful as kidney stone. That's still more painful than that. And then, of course, childbirth's even more painful than that. So I was not enjoying the gallstone attack, so I don't know how anybody could enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Heard breaking a femur is the most painful thing that you can endure.
Is it?
That's what I think I've heard. I don't know. Childbirth was pretty fucking painful, but I was a kid, so I was like, give me the drugs now.
Okay, but have you ever stubbed your toe? I feel like that's the most painful thing.
Dude.
I have had wood shoved under my toenail, so yes, I have stubbed my fucking toe pretty hard.
So look,
you being interrogated by the foreign government or something?
No, it was a sex game.
Well, I was crawling through a window late at night.
So
see?
Eric asked a good question, and the answer is no. You cannot miss our show to go to a munch. You bring us with you. And get them addicted too, and just let us know. We'll talk about sex more.
Oh my God! Did she say what's a munch?
It's for kinky people to meet up and have fun.
It's a meet and greet for BDSM players.
Oh, okay. See, I have a friend that we call munch.
Or swingers.
So sorry.
I think swingers do munches still too, so it could just be a swingers event.
Sorry,
no, if you go to a munch during the show, we want you to go live from the munch if they'll let you. We know they won't, but
you could go off in a corner.
Go in the bathroom.
And film yourself up against a wall. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Don't film yourself up against a wall in a bathroom and live stream it to us. Don't do that. Like, we'll do a lot of shit.
The connotations of what we're talking about.
Don't do that.
I just meant with no people in the background, so you're not like.
Even if there's no people in the background, not from a bathroom. We're going to have to hard limit.
I didn't say bathroom. I said like in the corner. You said bathroom.
I said bathroom. Yeah. No.
John has apparently had us on while at a munch. Fair play.
I'm so shocked.
I mean, half the time our episodes are so not political and so BDSM that it would probably fit the environment.
It probably would. I mean, it depends on the guest, right? It depends on what's going on. It depends on current events in pop culture.
The only thing that I can think of that's like a current pop culture event is Epstein getting convicted.
Yes, I love the memes of him and Cosby in jail.
You mean Weinstein? Because Epstein's dead.
Oh, yeah. See,
I'm
on 3 here now, yeah.
He didn't hang himself.
Right. Man, I just missed
No, but
meme.
I love the memes of the Cosby and what's his face? And
Weinstein?
Pops, like,
Oh my God.
Somebody did a poll recently and asked Americans, did Epstein kill himself? And it was like 22% yes. And everybody else was like, no.
It's funny because it's now to the point where the people who believe that he actually killed himself are the conspiracy theorists.
Here's the thing though.
Oh my God. Did you guys see the float in Mardi Gras?
Yeah,
that was great. The Hillary choking, yeah. So look, here's what gets me though. We live in a society where the majority of people are looking at the Epstein death going, something's shady. And at the same time, we're seeing growth in the flat earth movement. Like, what the fuck?
How? Why? Oh my God. I have so many on my timeline, but I can't say they're all awful people because they post other things that I'm like, oh, that's a good article. Or,
because every other planet in our solar system is spherical, but for some reason, God's divination or whatever it is they're claiming, the earth is flat.
Joe, tell these people that the earth is flat.
The earth is not flat. Sorry.
Thank you.
So here, my question.
I've been on an airplane and seen the spherical nature of the earth. So
my question for the flat earthers is always, who benefits from making you believe that the earth is round, and how do they do so? And
it's those core people.
Wait, you haven't heard this story? You haven't heard the answer to that?
Oh my God, Go.
Yeah, there's an
Go
answer.
on.
So you guys don't
Is it
know
so-
this shit.
Is it
Oh,
so
no.
airlines can charge more because, like,
This is a government
they say that
conspiracy.
it takes longer to fly, but it really doesn't? I don't
It's
know.
a government conspiracy designed to keep us distance from a divine creator.
Oh.
Wait, what?
If he's a divine creator, then he would have to be omniscient and omnipotent, and distance isn't gonna fucking matter.
Right, like an omnipotent, benevolent God is not gonna like, right? But
it's somehow stopped by our government.
so here's the thing, though,
I feel
like
that was the
before,
argument against the spherical Earth 500 years ago, though.
Right.
I mean, can't they come up with a new argument?
clearly not, right? And like, so here's the thing, like right before, I mean, a couple of years before this flat Earth thing became a thing, I remember being in a 4chan room on a sub channel, and anybody who understands 4chan and sub channels probably knows which sub channel I was on, right? Hearing people go, people are so fucking stupid, you could make them believe anything. We could probably even make them believe the world was flat. So,
dude, it would.
And then
not
now we've
surprise
got
me.
this. So, I mean, I blame 4chan. There was also the whole 4chan started theory that
The
like,
circle game.
and then the center of the earth being controlled by Norse gods or whatever, the one true gods, and they live in the center of the earth, which is, I mean, because Odin hated ice giants, even though he was a frost giant, he's gonna go live in a magma core. I mean, whatever.
I remember once listening and finding like hundreds of YouTube videos of like full length, like produced videos on the theory that after World War II, Hitler and his followers went to Antarctica in UFOs and have a base.
Oh, well, I've not heard that one.
UFOs?
Yeah, and UFOs. And so, like, not just like, oh, somebody believes it, but like hundreds of people are making like movies about how this is the case.
Right.
Oh my God.
Drink water.
Oh my God.
that's
This
what we're
atheist is
drinking
about to
water.
check the fuck out. Seriously. I cannot with us bullshit.
So which part of it, the Hitler surviving, the Antarctica, or the UFOs, does it for you?
Like, even before that, like the flat earthers, all of this, like, yeah, I'm out.
Look, I could get the Hitler surviving and going to Argentina. Like that
But not in a
conspiracy-
UFO.
Yeah,
No,
but
but
when
that
you start
theory I
going to
can see.
Antarctica, I'm out. I'm out.
Somebody in the chat over there says talking about Iron Sky. That's actually a movie that somebody put together about slightly different. It's them going to the moon, and
Right.
coming back to try to conquer us. But like that was crowdfunded movie. It's really interesting watch. But it was built on the same people reacting to the theories that predated it.
Well, Elfie just showed me her butt, and I'm in a happier place.
Kind of like the Hitler themed thing of late that I really dug was Man in the High Castle.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really, really well done. Brilliant.
I feel like that series needed 2 less episodes per season. Like it was just a little slow for me, but the
It
story
needed
was
2
great.
fewer characters per season.
Yeah.
Fair, yeah.
It's just too many characters. But the storyline was really pretty. The storyline could have been more developed in some of the kind of side plot romanticism shit. I could have done with less of, like more story, less character interaction.
I love counterfactual fiction. I got a bunch of books on counterfactuals of just that. Sorry, I'm going to nerd out for a minute, but
No, that's welcome here.
That moment of like you just change one little thing in history and all of the things that would necessarily follow from that. So Man in the High Castle, the theory was the one thing they changed was that guy who tried to kill FDR before his first inauguration succeeds. Mm-hmm. And so everything after that follows. And the one I usually tell is that really is a big change in world history is Churchill becoming prime minister in May 1940. He wasn't supposed to become prime minister. It was supposed to be Lord Halifax who was supposed to become the prime minister. That's who the king wanted. That's who the Conservative Party wanted. The Conservative Party hated Churchill. He'd been a turncoat. He'd switched parties. He'd spent the last decade yelling about how the party had lost its way and everything. They didn't really want to go with him. And it came down to the moment where the king was like, you're the two finalists. Lord Halifax, will you form a government? And Halifax was like, no, you should go with Churchill. And it made a big difference because a couple of weeks later, Halifax was arguing for a separate peace with Germany. Mm-hmm. And I mean, just the whole course of world history was changed just from that one decision. I love having conversations like that. So if I'm ever cornered you at some state convention talking about the chairs race and you want to get out of the conversation, bring up some moment in history and we can nerd out about that.
So the first thing that comes to mind is and I'm drawing a blank on the name, because I got the first book in the series of like, what if the South won the Civil War? You know which one I'm talking about?
Oh, Turtle Doves series.
Yeah. And I couldn't, I realized trying to listen to that book that I'm a little bit more of an SJW than I thought, because there were too many N-bombs for me to continue going through it.
He's written a couple of them. He did one of like the aliens invading in the middle of World War II that was really interesting. The South winning the Civil War, or at least I think it was like staying independent. So there were two Americas. He wrote like 20 counterfactual.
Because that he took that series. I guess I like read a summary. He took that series through World War II, like how it would have been different with the South and the Axis powers and all of that.
So if I remember correctly, in World War I, the South sided with, the South and the North were on opposite sides of World War I, and so like that, the post-World War I Germany feeling defeated and resentful and open to Hitler's rise to power, that was the North in his books, and so that's what led to World War II. It was really very convoluted and everything, but very interesting.
So, Joe, you were talking about Churchill being kind of outspoken, making statements that he didn't really disagree with the direction of the party, a lot of things that the party was doing. You're running for chair.
Churchill. No.
You're clearly not Churchill. Yeah. What are the things that what kind of direction is it that you would like to see the party go in? Kind of from where we are now.
I mean, my vision is it's a simple one, but it's an achievable, and I think it's an achievable one, but it's one we haven't been able to reach. And that's electing principled libertarians to public office. I'd like to be able to see libertarians at the legislative negotiating table, because every day right now, decisions are getting made. And because libertarians aren't at the table, they're pretty bad decisions. And, I can attest firsthand, because my day job is going to states, helping them with their tax policies and helping fight bad policy and helping get good policy across the line. And, wherever the decision is, it's the median of the people at the table, and putting even one libertarian at the table can make a big difference. We all know about Jeff Hewitt, who was elected Libertarian Riverside County Supervisor. That's a board of 5. So 1 of 5 is Libertarian, 1 Democrat, 3 Republicans. He's gotten along very good with the Democrat, who's also kind of alone on the board. They've gotten to know each other, and they understand each other and can kind of get some voting done together. When they vote together, that's 2. They only need 1 more, and whatever they decide is law. And, we libertarians are natural coalition builders. We understand the right in a way that the left doesn't, and we understand the left in the way that the right doesn't. We can really bring people together, and it'd be nice, and I think it is achievable, that libertarians could be the balance of power in state legislators and blocking bad policy and promoting good policy. So how do we get there? It's fundraising resources, it's getting on the ground infrastructure, it's finding good candidates and training them. And anybody that's kind of paid attention to the Libertarian Party nationally in the last couple of years, you've seen the beginnings of this. We've got Kara and Apollo doing great work, training people and helping them with messaging and getting building up on the ground infrastructure. We've launched the Civi CRM program, and we just signed a contract with eCanvasser. We're starting to build the tools that, honestly, with the IT background that we have in our party, we should be ahead of the other 2 parties, not catching up to them. And and then winning races. I mean, we almost elected honestly, we did elect Bethany Baldus to her race last election. She won it on election night. She didn't win with absentees because she didn't start door knocking until after half of Wyoming had left for the fall and winter to another state. So we're getting started earlier. We got a bunch of candidates in the Mountain West, and once we're able to do it right, we can then grow it and expand it. But what I want to do as chair is be single-minded on that effort, on building infrastructure, on electing libertarians, and on helping us do that, because then we can build upon it. And all of the other nice-to-have things, the better messaging, the affiliate support, the 50-state ballot access, all of those things are essential, but those are all means to the broader end, because once we got libertarians at the negotiating table, then we can really start changing things. So that's the gist of it.
I know we're getting close to time, but there's a couple of really good questions in our chat. Zach, are you seeing these from Carl and Chris? Good questions for Joe.
Oh, yeah, let's see. Given all the polarization, why hasn't the LP been able to appeal to the masses and get a seat at the table? It's a good question. I mean, I've been a member of the party since the mid-90s, and I mean, I've wondered that myself. I think part of it is team loyalty. People like voting, if you grew up Republican or grew up Democrat, you want to vote for those, and we don't have that base of support. But honestly, I think that's breaking down. I think the plurality of Americans now are no identifying label, and then it's more fluid. I don't even really recognize the Republican Party anymore from what it was 10 years ago. And if the Democrats nominate either Bernie or Bloomberg, I think you're going to be able to say the same thing about the Democratic Party. So, I live in Washington, D.C., which is 92% Democratic. But we were able to do very well when we ran for office, my husband and I, in this last election. We got 18% in some precincts. And, we talked to a lot of people about, would you consider voting for us? And a lot of people did, because they don't want the city to be a one-party place. And that's an argument that can work in a lot of parts all over the United States, because, if you're in cities, it's becoming a one-party Democratic area, or if you're in rural areas, it's becoming a one-party Republican area. And you need libertarians at the table to keep them honest. And when I talk to people who are Democrats, they're like, well, you're not a Democrat, but at least you're not a Republican. And when I talk to Republicans, they're like, well, you're not a Republican, but at least you're not a Democrat. So we can bridge the gap in a lot of ways.
At least we got that going for us.
Yeah.
Good start.
Right? Well, at least you're not one of the devil parties.
It starts the conversation, and then we can talk about the issues that they care about and bring it back to where we want to lead things.
Absolutely.
And Carl's question was really good too.
Carl's question. My thought has always been each state needs print screen supplies to make. We do a crappy job at providing basic infrastructure, and so a lot of people have to reinvent the wheel. So I'm state chair of DC, and maybe this was naive of me, but I kind of expected that when I became state chair, someone somewhere would send me a book about what I needed to know as a state chair, or at least.
I got one. You didn't get one. I got Pat Dixon's book.
At least how do I register us with the FEC, because we weren't FEC compliant? Mm-hmm. How do we contact National to make sure our websites are updated and everything's kosher there? How do we make sure that, what are the rules on ballot access for our state? Because I know somebody's monitoring the 50-state ballot access. How do we, access the training resources? How do I put on a good state convention? What are the best practices for that? We know all this. This is all out there. It's just not concentrated and being provided in a clear way. So, it's a goofy idea, but I'd love to be able to provide affiliate in a box, state convention in a box, FEC compliance in a box. So,
oh my God, that is a great idea.
So
we need that.
Yeah, we do need that, and
all the way down to
those are all things that the LSLA and the Affiliate Support Committee have been working on. Richard Longstreth really championed that affiliate in a box kind of movement.
So I mean, let's roll them out and make sure that they're being provided, because it's getting dropped somewhere along the way. And there's little tidbits that I've picked up along the way that we could supplement with all the knowledge that everybody has in the party. So like if you're a treasurer for a campaign or a state party, the rule usually is like make sure you file on time. Like on time matters more than accuracy, because you can always file on time and then amend. But where you get into trouble is when you do not file on time. And that really needs to be hammered home to treasure. People want to be treasurers. Or if you're running, Apollo Pazel, our campaign coordinator, when he speaks to candidates, he's got rules of thumb about, this many door knocks equals 1 vote. This many phone calls equals 1 vote. This many lit drops on people's doorsteps equals 1 vote. And, it's out there. We've collected the information. We just need to do a better job of disseminating it. And
there needs to be a central place. I thought that was maybe why CiviCRM, or that was maybe a role CiviCRM would play.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, that's part of it too, being able to provide overarching infrastructure. And this is not national bossing the states around or telling, people can use it or not use this. It's up to them.
A resource for them to pluck as they need.
Want to use it.
Zach had something.
Yeah, so this is my every other episode or so plug to remind everyone that I'm running for Region 6 alternate, and to kind of throw back to what Carl was talking about with audio visual equipment. That's something that I've been really hammering on. Like, I think every state should be able to afford a $400 AV package that we can put together. It would be like that camera, like National has this camera now,
right?
A decent microphone and a small soundboard, and every state should have that. And that's, or at least, if they don't, like, obviously I don't want to force a state to get something that they don't want, but they should know
just so we
what
look
to get.
professional.
They should have access to it. It's not about outcome; it's about access, right?
Yeah.
The states can choose to do whatever they want to do. We would just all like to see them have access to better resources. If you're going to pitch your run, I'm going to pitch mine, because I'm running again for Region 7.
Oh yeah, but you're a shoo-in. I might actually have to contend with someone.
Look, I expect to face challenge. I always expect to face challenge. And if you're running for a seat and get it and don't expect to face challenge, man, you must be amazing, because I fuck up every day. I make mistakes all the time. And I know that my constituency is going to hold me accountable to that. Rightfully, they should, right? But yeah, one of the things I want to see is continuing to build resource and grow a donor pool. I know Chris asked, why wasn't there support money or people in reelecting Laura Advocate to the Nebraska legislature? And then honestly, there are a million reasons for that. But one of the biggest ones was we lacked the resources.
Well, there was an effort.
We didn't know how to do it right. We tried.
Right.
Yeah, people went and door knocked and everything.
We learned a lot of lessons from that campaign of how to do it wrong that we're now applying, corrected version in the Mountain West.
Right. I mean, the quick version is we didn't have the resources. We really didn't have the money that we should have had. We didn't have the training that we should have had. We didn't have the knowledge. We didn't have the data. There were a lot of things, but it all comes down to resources. So growing those resources has been my goal for a really long time and will continue to be my goal. We need more resources. And we need more reach. And I think, too, one of the things that we haven't consistently done well, that you see us all here tonight working toward this, right, is we put so much focus on things other than really shifting culture and affecting culture. And if you look at any great movement in this country, the culture shift came first. The culture shift came before any electoral success, before any battle success. The culture shift must happen first. So I really think it's important that we're talking to that we're looking for other culturally significant ways to do outreach, music and art and media,
comedy.
Do your thing. What if you juggle wearing an LP t-shirt? If you always wanted to go on a reality show, do it, but pack LP t-shirts. If you need swag for those, hit us up.
Hit up anybody in the movement.
The noise is so loud right now. It's so hard to break through and get attention, but we're libertarians are so inherently creative that we can find ways to do it. in DC, this was an idea of the Northern Virginia Party, but we were able to partner with them on it. During the government shutdown, I guess 2 years ago now, garbage wasn't being picked up. Everything was falling apart in DC. So, I mean, a bunch of libertarians from Northern Virginia and DC got together and we cleaned up the National Mall together. And we got a ton of positive press coverage because it's a little counterintuitive. Oh, libertarians actually being charitable and helping clean up a government property because the government wasn't doing it. There's a lot of creative ideas that I want to be able to generate. The affiliate support committee that Erin's on, and to his credit, Josh chairs, they're doing a contest right now of 5 affiliates that did creative ideas. And, I'd like to do a lot more than just 5 in a 2-year term. I'd like to honor an activist every month that does something creative, because I want to get a lot of great ideas out there that people can copy and use to get more attention for us, to help break through the noise. Because it's going to be very hard to get mainstream media attention. It's going to be very hard to get, because the reporters love covering the blue versus red horse race. And in order to break them out of it, we got to come up with creative stuff, and I know we're up for the challenge.
Well, and 2, if you're an LP member, please check your email. You should have gotten an email from National that contains links to the 5 finishers in that LP Everywhere contest, and you get to vote. The committee is not picking the winner. You guys are picking the winner. It's your movement. You need to decide who did the best outreach, who did the best job representing your movement and your party. So please, 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 you will need your member number. Find your member ID card. If you don't have it, pick up the phone. You're going to call 1-800-ELECT-US, and they will send you a new card and let you know what your member ID number is. But please vote. The winning affiliate's going to get $1,000, and there's some really good entries.
That's going to go a long way.
Northern Virginia, that park cleanup, that's one of the finalists. So,
is it? No, I didn't even know that. They do good work in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, it was the Nova entry. It's a good entry. Definitely click through them, click on the links, and look at the pictures, especially if you're looking for ideas of how to get involved in different things you can do. There's some really good stuff in there.
And I mean, that's the whole idea for it, was to be able to get more good ideas out there for people to use. I mean, back at when I was head of the campus libertarians at Berkeley, we did a big event on April 19th every year. It's April 19th. It's the anniversary of Lexington and Concord. It's the anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. It's the anniversary of the final days at Waco. There's a lot of, and of course, 420 is a libertarian holiday too. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that we promoted, and in order to talk about just people standing up for their rights, and being able to spread that message. And so, I mean, I love the idea of being able to do a big thing on April 19th. Libertarians used to, and still do in a lot of states, do a big thing on tax day. I guess everyone files electronically now, so you don't have the lines at the post office at midnight like back in the days of yore. But
yeah, just a couple of years ago, people were doing that all over the place. I remember that.
Yeah.
On tax
I know
day.
Texas does. Texas does a big deal on tax day.
Yeah. So, it'd be nice if we could do lobby days and protest days. And again, not forcing any state or any affiliate to do this, but providing them the opportunities and the templates and the trainings to be able to do it. One of my favorite memories of when I was in law school was participating in a national lobby day on surveillance law and the Patriot Act extension, where all across the country, people went to their state legislators and their Congress people to explain the truth about this and try to work against it. And libertarians can do this. I think a lot of us are just maybe too busy to be able to initiate it on ourselves and need a bit of direction and guidance. But I think it's something that's certainly within our ability and power to do.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we are a little bit over tonight, so we're going to wrap. Anything you need to plug right before we go?
My website's at winwithjoe.org. I'd love to have your support in Austin, and let's continue to build our party to win.
Awesome. All right. We will see you guys next week. Let's see. Who do we have? Oh, I should know this right offhand, but I don't. I don't think we have anyone this Thursday. We will be in Iowa this weekend.
Right.
There will be live streams.
And yeah, so look forward to that. So next Tuesday, we've got Richard Longstreth. Tune in for that. But also turn in this weekend. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here with us, Joe. And good luck. I'll see you in Austin.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.